Oops, a card fell out. This is the High Priest. Okay. All right. And your next card is a Page of Swords. This is a Nine of Pentacles. I have a Nine of Cups. The number 9 is coming out here in your spread. I have the Chariot. This is a Four of Cups reversed. This is a Three of Wands. Ace of Swords. And then an Eight of Swords. So very interesting here. Okay, so this is interesting. It's interesting because you do have 2 9s, and the number 9 is significant because the higher the number, the further on, and a cycle. A cycle is, in tarot, it means that you go through an experience or a transformation, and you start in the beginning with the Ace, but by the time you get to the 9, you're at the end of the cycle, and then 10 means you change into you go into a new cycle. Whatever is happening, it means that you begin again when you reach the number 10, and then Ace means you start all over again. So you've got some high numbers here with the 9 of Pentacles, the 9 of Cups, and the 8 of Swords here, which tell me that there's a situation that is about to go through another transformation and another cycle, especially when you get that Ace of Swords. But it seems to be followed by an 8 of Swords as well. And then you got a Page of Swords. So also for you, Aries, air, which is represented by swords, the element of air, is also very important in your spread. And it seems like whenever you get air, we get this judging, thinking, perceiving. Sometimes we get anxiety. Sometimes we get, because usually swords, they're the least happy card in the tarot, because usually some of the swords are about healing, going through pain, dealing with difficult issues. So, the first impression that I'm getting for you, Aries, is that some of you will be going through a difficult transition in your relationships. I also get the feeling with these 2 cups, the 9 of Cups is the card of contentment, someone, being happy and getting everything they want. But I also get this 4 of Cups where someone plays the victim. 4 of Cups reverse. Someone is making it all about them. And so in the middle of your spread, you only have 2 major arcana. You have the High Priest, which is about devotion. It's about the spiritual devotion and reaching for a higher purpose. The High Priest can also mean a contract, a marriage, a tradition. It's about tradition and family, being faithful. And so Aries, your sign is usually very loyal. Most fire signs have that strong determination, that fire energy where once you're loyal and devoted, you are committed. How long you'll be committed, but that can be up to the particular situation. But I do feel, Aries, especially with that 3 of Swords in your 3 of Wands in your future, that you are in a relationship. Some of you have been very devoted and faithful. And then there might be someone with some water energy that's a little selfish, because 9 of Cups is also the wish card, but it's also the card of getting everything you want. just being happy and just feeling you have everything you need. Okay. That maybe there's some water energy, someone who's emotionally selfish that you're dealing with here. And perhaps that's why these swords are starting to show up later on in your future here, that you're going through a little bit of stress here with the relationship. So when I look here in your past influences, these three cards here, faithfulness and devotion, trying to keep a family or relationship together. Some of you might be married. Some of you, an issue of marriage might be going on, even though you're not married. And then we have a Page of Swords, and that Page of Swords is usually indication of, it can be indication of an important communication here, having an honest discussion, for instance, because the page, one interpretation of the page, it's not just about being young or inexperienced, but it can also be about a message that's being delivered, receiving a message. And swords are about truth and honesty and knowledge and wisdom. So I get the feeling that here in the past, there's been a lot of, not necessarily arguments, but a lot of intense talking or discussions or communication issues where you and this other person have had to work on being open and honest and having discussions. And maybe this other person hasn't been as straightforward with you as they should have been. And so that's when we get this Nine of Pentacles. Now, Nine of Pentacles is about prosperity and happiness. It can also mean a happy marriage, or a happy family. It can also be a card about wealth and the good life. Okay. It's about abundance and happiness. And so some of the things at issue here that I see in the past are keeping a happy family or relationship here that might be going on. So for some of you who are wondering about a third party or another relationship, it seems like there are other relationships here that, I'm picking up one situation where there's a marriage that seems to be someone's getting back together, making the marriage work, making a long-term relationship work. So when I get here to the present, I think it's interesting because we have the Chariot here. And the Chariot is about moving forward. Okay. And so when I get another Nine of Cups, the contentment and happiness, followed by the Nine of Pentacles, happiness in the family and prosperity, and finally getting things together. I'm starting to see that maybe things might be going well for some of you, except for the fact that we have that Four of Cups. And once again, that Four of Cups, it's about emotions and water. And this is usually the card of someone just being emotionally selfish. Okay. Someone who is just not being optimistic. They're throwing a temper tantrum. So when this is in reverse, yeah, we get a little bit of the extremes here. Someone is still being emotionally, they're fine once they get everything they want, but then when things aren't going their way or when you don't do what they want you to do, they emotionally flip on you. And so this Chariot here in the middle is, to me, it seems to be more about being able to move forward, to keep this good thing together, whatever it is with the relationship. And I'm kind of seeing you Aries people being cramped here with this Nine of Cups and then this Four of Cups on either side, because it seems to be putting a lot of pressure on the Chariot. It seems to be getting in the way of being able to move forward. There The Chariot requires the forces of both the conscious and the subconscious, two forces. Those two horses, the black and the white horse, they have to work together in order for that chariot to move, to go places. Okay? And it's about overcoming obstacles. So the chariot is not just about smooth sailing. When you see the chariot, it's about, I'm going to try to tackle this obstacle so that we can move forward together. So I'm seeing a lot of you Aries who are hanging in there and trying to make it work. And maybe the water energy of a particular person, this emotional energy of the other person, is just getting in the way. They're sabotaging the relationship, and maybe they don't even realize it. They're not communicating with you the way they should. They're making it all about themselves. Sometimes they're losing sight of the bigger picture. So when we get here to the future, I see a lot of frustration for you, Aries, because you've got that Three of Wands, and you want to overcome the adversity. You want to give this person another chance. But once again, more swords, that Ace of Swords, it seems to be indicating a need to go back to basics and try to see what it is you really want from the relationship. You might want a future, but I think it's interesting because this also showed up for Pisces. This card is looking away from the future. Maybe some of you in the future might find yourself looking away from the relationship and wondering, is this really going to work? Okay. Your expectations, maybe you've been disappointed. This person is going to disappoint you. And that's more than anything what I'm seeing, that you Aries are the ones trying to keep the relationship together, but you're going to be facing a little bit of disappointment. So you're doing the leadership role. You're trying to hold things together. And then this Ace of Swords comes along. And this Ace of Swords, once again, we're talking about a beginning, but we're also talking about trying to find clarity and truth. And it can also mean taking action. Okay. But I think you're going to be doing a little bit of soul searching in the future, because I don't see this other person willing to let you go. But at the same time, I see someone who emotionally is still making it very tough for you. Okay. They have so many needs, and it seems like you're the one who's attending to their needs, but they're not giving you much in return. You're giving them the cups, you're giving them the happiness, but they're not giving you very much back. It's not a focused, it's not an even relationship. This chariot seems to be crippled a little bit. Those two horses are not quite in sync. So when we get here to that we're coming here to that Eight of Swords, which means feeling powerless to change a particular situation. And that feeling of, can this ever be resolved? Okay. Pulling back. And maybe some of you are attached to some very emotional people who pull that emotional blackmail on you, that if they don't get their way, or when you try to establish your own boundaries, like with the Three of Wands, all of a sudden they start to act out. So, Aries, let's see. I'm going to pull this outcome card for you. But I do know that, Aries, you do not like to have your loyalty and your devotion taken for granted. And you have that fire energy where you will only tolerate that for so long. So your outcome card says the shadow side. And just right now, when I looked at that card, what I got was that this person that you Aries are attached to is that big disappointment, this acting out, this anger. I'm picking up some of you being attached to someone who has a lot of emotional anger and resentment, someone who is not emotionally mature. And I'm definitely picking that up from that Four of Cups. And so, Aries, you need to prepare yourself. That if you've been going through these little mini struggles throughout the summer with a partner or a husband or a long-term relationship, this person that some of you are attached to, they're going to really try to, how can I say it? You know, they're just going to act out. Okay. And I don't think that you should take it. I don't think you should stand back. I think you need to hold your own here. Okay. So consider the oracle giving you a little bit of a warning and also a little bit of advice here, because the shadow side is about overcoming darkness and not letting someone overpower you and demean you and hold you down. Okay. So that's my reading, Aries, but I think you'll be okay. I really do. But that's your reading for the month. I hope you've enjoyed your summer. And I will tell you that I'm making a new service in my tarot readings available. It's the Grand Romany Tarot. It's a phone reading for 60 minutes. And there's a video that tells you a little bit about what it is. So check the playlist for September. So thank you so much. And I'll see you on YouTube. And I wish you love and light.